All right, guys, we are live on YouTube. I just need for the video to connect over here on my other monitor so I can grab that link and put it in our free business mastermind group so that we can get them on here as conveniently as possible. So let me get this link and we're going to put it in here. Boom. All right, let me make sure I can see the live chat. And I can. All right, great. Let's get started. Welcome to your First Six Figures morning show, where every show is intentionally more than an interactive, more of an interactive coaching and training experience to position you, the online service-based entrepreneur, to generate your first six figures by learning how to make the money and create time freedom. This week's blog is at shaycannon.com/story. That's shaycannon.com/story, because what we're talking about this week is storytelling. 4 stories you need for your brand, okay? This has been in the back of my mind for a while. We've touched on storytelling. We've talked about how important it is to use in our messaging, in our speaking, and everything around our brand. But we have not honed in on what are the stories you should be telling, especially for your brand. And so I honed in on at least 4 stories that you need to have about your brand, and you need to have these things ready and in the clip so that you can get them out at the proper time to make it do what it do, right? We always want to introduce ourselves and our brand to new people. We want them to be interested enough to continue the conversation. And then we want them to follow us and come into our community so that we can nurture them, and eventually want them to buy from us so that we can help them get to that transformation and serve them. And so stories help us to do that. And this week we'll be talking about 4 stories in particular, all right? Let's go to the blog, all right? Storytelling is the heartbeat of human connection, a timeless way to convey meaning, evoke emotions, and inspire action. For online service-based entrepreneurs, it's not just a tool. It's the essence of building trust and relatability in a digital world where personal interactions are rare, okay? Stories breathe life into your brand, transforming abstract concepts into memorable narratives that resonate with your audience's experiences and their aspirations. They create a bridge between the service that you offer and the people that you want to serve, making your mission more than a transaction. It becomes a relationship, okay? So by sharing authentic and compelling stories, you invite your audience to see themselves in your journey, foster loyalty, understanding, and a deep emotional connection that drives long-term success for you and them, actually, okay? Now, today we're going to talk about the first type of story that you need to have, not that it would be a great thing if you had. These are 4 stories this week that you need to have, all right? I started off with the easy one. The first one is you need to have a brand-focused story, okay? A brand-focused story. And it reveals the essence of your business, the origin, the mission, the values, and the evolution of the brand and the business. These narratives often showcase how your brand came to be, pivotal moments in the history of your brand, and driving forces behind your brand's growth could be a part of this story that is brand focused. So you're going to build a personal connection with your audience and would-be clients by humanizing your brand. Why are we trying to humanize the brand? Because people do business with people, not things, right? So it's great to humanize the brand. When people understand your why and your journey, they are more likely to align with your mission and choose your business over the competitors. A good story, y'all. So a story about your brand. So that is the blog, but here on the morning show, we give you more. So let me go to these show notes so that I can give you even more. I have 10 actionable steps for you to start thinking about what you need to put in your brand story, your brand focused story, okay? And then this week, for each category of story. I'm going to give you a ChatGPT prompt because I know that you need more help. So we got a prompt going on for you guys for each day this week. All right, let's get into the 10 actionable steps. When we do the round robin in studio, we're going to start with Dewana, if she's still here. If Dewana has to hop off, then we'll go to Dr. LaFera. And the question that you're listening to answer is, what is something amazing about your brand that you will be sure to use in your brand story? Okay. Now, if you need help, get ready to tell us in a concise way how and why you started your current iteration of business. It's time to brag on yourself and your brand, okay? We don't often brag on ourselves, but this is where it comes in handy. So start thinking about that while I rattle off these 10 strategies of how you can be actionable with putting this brand story together, okay? Cool beans. Number 1, the inspiration behind starting your brand. Something inspired us to start this iteration of our business. See, some of us are serialpreneurs. Some of us have been through this entrepreneurial journey before doing other things, but I'm talking about this iteration of your business. Okay. So how did you get started with this one? Okay. What inspired you? Number 2, challenges you overcame in your entrepreneurial journey. Let me tell you how it's amazing. Some of the content I put out, Dr. LaFera was one of the people that kept telling me, oh, you were so vulnerable and you were transparent. I'm transparent and vulnerable to y'all all the time. I guess I say it in such a confident voice. Y'all don't hear it the same way, right? So if I say, yeah, I struggled this morning. So because I said it in a confident tone, it's not resonating as a true struggle. Y'all just see me as strong. She can handle it. She can do it, right? So that lets me know when I am talking about challenges, I need to use a different tone of voice so that it resonates more, so that you see it as a challenge also. And now you see that I have challenges like you have challenges, right? So what are some challenges you overcame in your entrepreneur journey, putting this brand together to serve other people? Number 3, a pivotal moment, I can't speak today. This Alabama acting up. A pivotal moment that defined your brand's direction. Again, I'm asking about this iteration of your brand, but a lot of us have had other iterations. So what was the moment that made you define it as it is right now, based on those other, what you experienced or the data that you got from the other iterations of your brand? Number 4, how your brand name or logo was created. Okay. Some of us, some of y'all wanted to be like Oprah and, do a Harpo or something like that. But y'all know when Oprah came out with Harpo, we didn't know what that was. We had no idea what Harpo was. And then we understood the brand story behind the name, that it was Oprah spelled backwards, right? What is your brand story about your brand's name or even your logo? When I came out with my publishing company, the logo for my publishing company, when I did publishing services, back in the day, it was a cannon, right? It was a cannon. And I wasn't yet married yet to have the last name Cannon, but the cannon symbolized my upcoming last name. Okay. So there could be something about the logo that is special, that is a story that you need to tell. Okay. Number 5, the values that guide your business decisions. Okay. A lot of us, or some of us, have businesses that only work with other companies that have sustainable practices. We trying to save the earth. If y'all watch the series we watched for Movie Club Night last month, there's so much plastic around this thing. So it might be something about, your values that is a part of your brand story. We all know about Tom's shoes, right? Tom's shoes, how when he came out with them little ugly, simple to make shoes, we only bought them ugly things because of his values. We buy a pair of those shoes and he's giving another pair to someone in need, maybe in third world countries, right? So we felt like we were a part of his cause. What is your cause? What are your values that you are imparting as a part of your brand? All right. Milestones like launching a product or hitting a revenue goal. We need to start sharing our wins. What are some big wins that you have that's a part of your brand or your brand identity? So one of my milestones was not that I made it to my first six figures, because my business has been at six figures for a while. One of my milestones, though, is that I was certified as a six-figure business by a third party. So I have an award proving that I'm a six-figure business. So me being a coach, helping you get to your first six figures, I'm not just out here spitting out stuff and, just regurgitating something that I know. I work in businesses that I help get to six figures. Mine is in six figures that I'm getting to seven figures. So what is a milestone about your brand or surrounding your brand that could be a part of your brand story? Number 7, your brand's mission and how it's evolved, right? So we kind of talk about the vision and what you feel like the values are, but the mission is different than your vision. Okay, the vision is what you see, and that can be very value infused. But the mission is, what are you gonna do for this vision that you see? Right? So what is your brand's mission and how has it evolved, or how are you achieving the mission? Okay. Include that in your brand story. Number 8, a turning point that led to significant growth. Okay, a turning point that led to significant growth for your brand or your business. I love these stories. I seek out these type of stories because I learn. I like to learn, how did somebody get their business to the next level? What was the thing that was very identifiable for them that helped them to get from one level to another level? Again, referencing our movie club night and our free business mastermind, we did one of the series in American Express. Some of the stories they told was, how they got from one level to the next level, right? And that's a part of your brand story. On this morning show, we've talked about business growth levels before, what level you're on and how you'll get to the next level. Well, it's not just about what level you're on. You left some levels behind. How did you get from that level to the level that you're on? Is that worth being a part of your brand story? I can't wait to tell the story of how I became a 7-figure business, right? Because that's one of my goals now. So what is the turning point that led to significant growth in your brand? All right. Number 9, what are personal stories that reflect your commitment to your audience? Okay, what are personal stories that reflect your commitment to your audience? As you guys know, I don't want you to just make the money. I want you to create time freedom. So one of the personal stories I am currently telling is how I'm about to spend a year in Southeast Asia as a part of my journey, right? So what are some personal stories that are, we're going to say, big enough that you include it in your brand story as you're telling it? Okay. Last but not least, number 10, what are some lessons learned from failures and how they shaped your brand? Okay. Again, this is this humanizing thing. This is that thing that makes people feel closer to you when you are transparent about what are some things that you learned. Okay. We don't just want to know some things that you're going through. We want to know what are some of the lessons that you learned? What are some of the mountains that you have overcome to continue to give us this service that's now a part of the brand, that's now a part of the transformation that you give to the people? Okay. So I will give you the ChatGPT prompt after we do our round robin. And so again, the question, and we will start with Dewana, is, what is something amazing about your brand that you will be sure to use in your brand story? And again, if you can't think of anything and you need help, then tell us in a concise way how and why you started the current iteration of your business, and think of it as now it's time to brag on yourself. All right. So let's start with Dewana. Dewana, get out of the downward dog if you can, and tell us what is something amazing about your brand that you'll be sure to use in your brand story.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Well, so as I'm going through this process, this is going to and shaping how I have to my diet to go along with this process that I'm going through. That's going to be like what is going to be amazing as I continue, to shape this story. So I'm just kind of plotting and charting as I go along what I'm able to eat and what helps me feel better, and so that's it.
I love that. And also, I would like, I mean, some of these people need to know what was your baseline diet that allowed you to be so energized through this process, that allowed you to have not as hard of a time as everybody else through this process. So
And I
yeah,
don't know
we
about
do that.
everybody else because it is hard. It's hard.
Yeah, it
And
is.
food is different going through this process. So it's a
Mhm.
whole nother journey and a whole nother thing. Like what I was eating before, my palate doesn't even want it. So
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, now I gotta modify. So that's a
Yeah.
part of the journey.
I
Yeah.
know, but see, you understand food science. So
Yeah.
you understand that, you know that people have had a far harder time than you, not that your time is not hard, but you having a baseline, a
Yeah.
foundation of being plant-based is helping you in ways that maybe if other people had a plant-based diet before they were going through this same process, they wouldn't have it as hard. So I want you to
Absolutely.
think about that, because that needs to be a part of your story. Because what I understand is sometimes we hold our health gurus to such a standard they can't be human.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So,
Mm-hmm.
oh, because you're supposed to be healthy, you're not ever supposed to have a human body that has a problem. That's not what that is. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
But
That's right.
because you're healthy, it's going to protect your body in ways as you go through certain health episodes as a human in a human
Absolutely.
body, that is helpful. So that's kind of the message I want you to be thinking about, so that we
Absolutely.
can go ahead and combat that, because we know people are retarded sometimes.
And that's absolutely right. And that's absolutely right. Yep.
Yep. Cool beans. Thank you for that,
Mhm.
Dewana.
You're
All
welcome.
right. Dr. LaFera, what is something amazing about your brand that you will be sure to use in your brand story? If you need help, tell us in a concise way how and why you started the current iteration of your business. It's time to brag.
Right. Okay. I had to stop thinking like something I trained to be for 20 years. And go against that to create my own method so that I wouldn't have to be stuck on medicines that doctors told me I would always be on, and they still try to put me on. And so that method included, changing my diet. So I need to talk more about not just the big thing, but like I have been doing like behind the scenes, like in my stories, at least, stuff with me and my daughter, like showing like what I make, like, you know, because people need to know that. And I get a lot of DMs about like what you put in that, what juice you use.
Yes,
So I created an Amazon store. I'm like, okay, this is just right here. Here
exactly.
you go.
I love it. All right, Dr. LaFera, I love that. So I do think that it is important as a part of your brand story for people to understand that no matter what chronic illness you're battling, on your good days and on your bad days, you still live. You see what I'm saying? I think that that is a story behind your brand that you definitely need to be telling, because what
I
we
like that.
understand is people have these chronic illnesses and they stop living.
Yeah, I do like that.
Their
Like,
life becomes about the chronic illness rather than the lifestyle that they wanted to live, and maybe some adjustments they have to make to have that lifestyle. So I think that that is a pivotal part of what you need to include in your brand story.
I do like that. Thank you, Shay.
You're welcome. All right. Dr. Latoya, what is something amazing about your brand that you will be sure to use in your brand story? If you need help, tell us in a concise way how and why you started the current iteration of your business. It's time to brag.
I think the part that I sporadically do but need to be really consistent about is kind of the how I got to this point, which is navigating through divorce or separation into divorce, right? And that sparked my desire and kind of led down this path of empowerment and all of that. So I think that every time I
Yeah.
tell that story, it resonates really, really significantly with people, but I don't always remember to kind of, frame it that way. But then today, as you were talking,
Mm-hmm.
another thing that came to my mind is the name of so my all of my brands fall under Chi, right?
Yeah.
So Chi Kids, Chi Essence, Chi Healing Institute, all of them fall under Chi. And so giving information about why I use Chi as kind of the brand name. I
Yeah.
did it with Chi Essence and it made sense, and I just haven't done it. So I need to incorporate that.
You do. And that personal story, as I'm hearing you talk about, that's what made you, That's why you are attracting people in transition, Dr. Latoya. So yeah, you got to tell their story. And it's about transition. So I
Yes.
love that. I love that. Yes, come through, y'all. Okay, let's go to Dr. Tachi. Dr. Tachi, what is something amazing about your brand that you will be sure to use in your brand story? If you need help, tell us in a concise way how and why you started the current iteration of your business. It's time to brag.
Okay, yeah, I need help.
All right, which business?
Let's go with Indie Soup.
Okay, so Indie Soup Media is a network for independent creators. You're giving us, because I'm one of your creators, a platform, right? So how did you start with this and why?
Because I myself also had a live stream and have been in the game for a long time, since 2011, and said to myself, and there are other creators that I know that are like me, that we all kind of started around the same time, and it made more sense to do things as a collective to get more awareness for what we do than to do it separately. So I noticed all these separate media islands, all these silos of entertainment.
Yeah.
And that's part of the problem, that people don't do things together. And so you can't succeed together. So that was kind of where the brainchild for this came out. And initially, this is the funny thing. I was talking to other people about doing a directory of everybody who had shows, so that it was like you knew what time they were on, where they were on, and that type of thing. Yeah, I didn't want to do that. So that's a lot of work. So I said, well, why not bring ourselves together in one place? So that's where that came from.
I love it. I still feel like you need a directory, but just of the people only on your network.
Yes,
Because
yes,
we
yes.
always asking, what day and time is Shawana? When is Shay coming on? So yeah, I still think we might need some kind of viewing guide that's maybe just a graphic. Get with Keith.
We That's true. Well, we do have one. I do have a what's the name? Yeah, I just haven't given it to you all yet. So, but I have it. Yeah.
So what I love about the story that you're telling is it is a story. You gave us like the vision, and you gave us like the obstacle that it helps to overcome, which is, instead of us independently working separately, we're bringing all this power together under one network to have more of an impact. I love that. I also love that you kind of have in there a bit of, I didn't see what I needed, so I created it. So I love that. So those are some aspects that you can include in your brand story. The fact that, we're better together, and the fact that when you didn't see what was needed, you created it. So I love both of those elements. Was that helpful at all for your brand story?
Yeah, it was. I just did, when you said something amazing, I'm like, because I'm working and I'm like, I don't necessarily see it as amazing. I'm just seeing it as what needs to be done. So that's why I needed help.
Yeah, that's why I'm ending this with it's time to brag. Because oftentimes the things that you need to bring about a compelling brand story, we just see as everyday things or as a part of our service, but they're actually amazing. And we don't brag enough on the things that we're doing. So yeah, I understand it's just something that you're doing, but it's an amazing something that you're doing. So dip into the amazingness of it and brag.
Okay.
All right, let's go with Shawana Kennedy Media. Shawana, what is something amazing about your brand that you will be sure to use in your brand story? If you need help, tell us in a concise way how and why you started the current iteration of your business. It's time to brag.
You know,
I ain't got time for this emotion this morning, Shawana. What the hell? What emotion did you just send over here? Tell us what you got. This sounds powerful.
no, this just actually speaks to I live in a part of who I am, the foundation of who I am is built and continues to thrive on gratitude.
Mm.
And so really listening at the things that you was asking us about our brand,
Mm-hmm.
it causes you to reflect, because sometimes we get so busy building the business. And it's not that I don't think about it, and even, of course, have conversation with God all day long, right? That's what really prayers are, y'all. They're having conversations with God.
Yes.
And so when I looked at it and began to, you already know, if anybody know anything about me, when Shay starts talking, I have to begin to immediately put action to the things that Shay says. And so the questions that you were asking that is a part of today's blog, I started writing. And one of the things that I know that is part of my testimony for Kennedy Media is that I had to become what I needed. And so that has allowed me to build a business, becoming what I needed, because then I began to see others who needed what I had. And that is a part of the personal touch that Kennedy Media offers. Is not just a person who can create beautiful graphics. It's because of the personal touch, because I have been in the shoes of every person's life that my business gets to touch. I said it gets to touch because God could choose and use anybody else, but the people that is assigned to me in these seasons of my iteration of my brand, my company, it is because of that, those people. And then for me, the turning point, when I think about, you asked the question about turning point, the turning point was me being okay. What I speak about is being more visible about what and who Kennedy Media is, not just Shawana, but Kennedy Media in all stages. Being a recording artist, a gospel recording artist, all of those things are what give me know-how and knowledge to help me help other people. Even thinking about the technology, leaning into when you said about the challenges, but they have become part of my wins. Being more clear and consistent, being adaptable, seeing collaboration over competition, all of these things that actually forced me to put it in such a way that it is where everybody can know more about the visionary, the founder of Kennedy Media. So I do have to thank you, because when we pause, and thank you, Dr. Latoya, because we have to pause to have moments of worship before we get into the business. And some people don't understand why their businesses are not shifting the way that they would prefer. And that's because they don't pause for times like this. So I thank you for allowing this space in the morning show, and for us just to know, because if y'all didn't feel it, I need y'all to know that God is here. And so I'm excited about this, and this is a great way to start my week. I rest.
All right now. Come on, Shawana, with the rare emotion. That, look, you know I don't like emotions, girl. I'm about to pat you with a broom instead of a hug. Cut it out. So that was great though. But that what I'm gonna say is that emotion is what you need to be telling as a part of the brand story. That is gonna connect people to you, so they say, hey, when I need what she has to offer, I'm gonna get it from her, because I resonate with her story. So you definitely need to figure out how you're going to make that a part of the brand story. That was powerful, Shawana. All right, let's go to Miss Cheryl. Cheryl, what is something amazing about your brand that you will be sure to use in your brand story? Now, I'm not going to even ask you if you need help, because you know stories like nobody's business. So go on, tell us what amazing thing about your brand that you're going to put in your brand story.
The story that I use is when I was 7 years old, I wanted a book, a coffee table book on France. We were living in France at the time. And I asked my dad to buy it for me. And he said, it's a contest. You, instead of me buying it, do the essay for the contest. Well, I barely knew what an essay was, but I learned. That's me. I'm a self-starter. Yeah. And so I did the essay. And like Bebe's kids, it was, did I win yet? My dad come home with the mail. Did I win yet? Did I win yet? Nothing. Then one day he came home with a manila envelope, and he said, this is for you. And I opened it up, and there was that coffee table book in there, but there were also tickets and all kinds of stuff where we had won an all expense paid trip to Paris, and with spending money, the whole 9 yards. And that was when I realized, even at that age, is that you got to have a dream. You got to want something so badly that you're willing to do what you've never done to have it. And as I tell that story, a lot of people, they say, well, I first wrote when I was in kindergarten and this, that, and the other. Well, yeah, that's required and great. But how badly do you want it? Because you're sitting in my room, you're sitting in my workshop, because number one, you need to make money. Number two, you need to get published. And number three, you need to know how to do it. And the other part of that brand story is that I worked in just about every area of publishing hands on, blessed by the good Lord who put me there. So I don't have to take anybody's word for things. I've got the experience and I can troubleshoot. And so I help writers make money, learn how to write their book, and how to set it up as a business.
I love that. So 2 elements of that brand story I heard you tell that I think are important is number one, how you got your love of writing, like what was the origin of it? And number two, how you are uniquely experienced because you've worked in every area of publishing to be the one to help them. So yes, I love both of those aspects. That is amazing. All right. Kimberly, I know you may be at the Dream Funder, but you can put it in the studio comments. Keith has already put his in the studio comments. He said, as a graphic designer, my goal is to help my clients shine. I channel my creativity, expertise, and passion into every project to exceed expectations and bring their visions to life. Seeing my clients' success and growth brings me immense joy and satisfaction. My role goes beyond creating appealing designs. It's about understanding their unique stories and crafting visuals that capture their essence. Now, what I'm going to say is, Keith, all of that is great, but that is more marketing than a brand story. I want you to tell us more or start thinking about more what led you to this business. Because see, Keith, you're passionate about this business. What led you to this business and led you to be so passionate about graphic design? You don't see it as just images. You see it as what those images represent, what emotions they evoke, what success it's going to give for the person that you are creating the graphic for. So we need the story behind why are you so passionate about something that we just see as something that somebody can do as Canva, right? So that is going to be what your brand story is going to be about. So work on that. And of course, y'all know I'm going to give y'all a prompt so that you guys can work with ChatGPT. Let's see what else is in these comments. So Dr. LaFera said, when Dr. Latoya was talking about divorce as a transition and a trigger, Dr. LaFera said, my divorces triggered my transformation. I identify with that. Unexpected, but you just confirmed my podcast and series would be around triggers and overcoming them. I like that, Dr. LaFera, because often triggers are what cause people to have chronic illness anyway. So if they don't ever get rid of those triggers, that's how the illness progresses. And then you as a pathologist, come on now, you have a unique view of those triggers becoming dis-ease and chronic illness. So yeah, I would love for you to add that in there, Dr. LaFera. Let's see what we got on this. When Shawan was giving her testimony, Dr. LaFera was like, let them use you. All right, over on the YouTube side, we got Shantali. Good morning, Shantali. And she said, I believe powerful brands are a result of consistent personal development and knowing who you are. That's why I use Vedic, and I hope I said that right, Vedic astrology to help my clients gain clarity on who they are, their purpose, and their gifts. So yeah, you need to tell the story of what made you start doing that. So, because again, well, no, you kind of put it in there, that your belief that they need to know themselves. Yeah, I like that. And then so Shantali says, so they can create personal and business brands that are in alignment with who they are. Yes. So I think that you need to harp more on the importance. So you're saying that it's important to know who you are to move forward, but what is that compelling story of why you know that to be true? That is what you need to add. I think that's what's missing. So the brand story, like the fact that they need to know themselves, yes, they do. That is the catalyst. But what brought about your knowledge of that is what the catalyst is. And what is the powerful story of how it worked for you possibly, or how it worked for somebody else. I think that's what you may be missing from your brand story. All right, let me give y'all this ChatGPT quote. I'm gonna share my screen because y'all know when it's this many words, I like for y'all to see it. I know about your learning styles. I don't want it to just be auditory. All right. So your ChatGPT prompt template is, I want to write a compelling narrative about the origin and journey of my brand. You're going to insert your brand name. And then you're going to say, I want to start with the inspiration or problem that led to its creation. Describe the key challenges faced along the way, and highlight the pivotal moments that shaped its mission and growth. I want to end with a vision of where the brand is headed and its commitment to its audience, okay, or my clients, right? Ask me questions so that you can write the best and most compelling narrative to be used as my brand story. Okay, because I know there are so many different things that it's going to be hard for you to pull in all of these compelling points into one story. So we're going to have Chat GPT do it, but we're going to have them ask us the questions for the information that they need to do it for us. Okay, so that is going to be the prompt that is in the show notes for today's type of story. Does anybody have any questions about why we need stories and why in particular we need a brand story for our business? Any questions on that, either in studio or in the YouTube audience? I'm going to do the show announcements while y'all think for a moment about your question. So you can get the morning show in your inbox, okay? Because you're going to need show notes, right? I just showed you, you're going to need these 10 strategies. You're going to need that ChatGPT prompt, all the things. It's only 2 ways to get this show notes. Number 1, be in our free group, shaycannon.info/group. It's a free business mastermind that is better than most paid masterminds. Or you can get the show, the entire show in your inbox. And what I mean by that is, in the morning, you'll get one email and it'll say, hey, we're live on YouTube, hop on. In the afternoon, you'll get another email with 2 links, one to the replay of the show and one to the show notes. So to get the entire morning show in your inbox, go to shaycannon.com/show. All right. Last week, y'all, if you didn't know, I announced that I will be leaving Mexico to start a year-long tour in Southeast Asia. I started a content series. You can follow along on this YouTube channel with that series. I created a playlist for it. So it's #the freedom that my business funds. So there is a playlist. There are already 4 videos in this content series. So go check them out. You still have time to vote on my first stop is going to be Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. I gave you 3 choices. Help me pick a studio apartment. So that video is ready for you to look at all the amenities and help me pick an apartment. You still have time to give your opinion before I do the reveal of which apartment will be the one. All right. Today is a Get Shit Done work session from 1 to 5 p.m. Eastern time for the paid membership. However, the free group is invited to jump on the last half. All right. Thursday is Fuck Up Night, which is a virtual happy hour for the paid membership. Again, the free community is invited to join us at the end of that. But what you're going to do is you're going to bring us what's effing up in your business so we can fix it over drinks. The event details are in the free group. Next week, y'all, we're having our training for December. And I've changed up our training format a bit. So we will have a free part and a VIP intensive paid part. Okay, the free part is going to be a crash course. And what we're doing this time is we're doing the 2025 business goals planning. Okay, so I'm going to give you a crash course for free. So go sign up, shaycannon.com/planning 2025. All right. Again, sign up. The crash course portion is free. Now, if you want to be a part of the VIP intensive where we spend more time and we talk about the implementation of, and I give you the tools for the implementation of, then you need to step up and upgrade, come behind the velvet rope and have a VIP experience for this event. So go to shaycannon.com/planning 2025. All right. If you haven't already, help us out. We give you a lot of value Monday through Thursday. Help us out. Go ahead and give us a thumbs up on today's live and make sure that you subscribe to the channel, okay? Subscribe to the channel. Now, anybody else have any questions about the first part of our 4-part series today? We're talking about storytelling.